Michael is 15 years old. He is a smart boy. He has got brown hair, green eyes, and a small nose. He has got a sister, too. Her name is Charlotte Taylor, but everybody calls her Taylor. It is January. Michael and Taylor are staying at their grandmother's house in Brighton. One Sunday, Michael looks at his bicycle. It is very, very old. I need a new one, he says. But the question is how? New bikes are so expensive. It's all right for you, says Taylor. I haven't got a bike at all. At that moment, Gran opens the back door. Tea, she says. Michael and Taylor go into the house. Gran, says Michael at tea. Do you know how I can make a lot of money? Gran smiles at him. Why do you ask? He wants to buy a new bike, says Taylor. Oh, I see. Gran thinks for a minute. Then she says, I know. What? Asks Michael. A magazine called Palace is on the table. Gran opens it. Look, she says. There's a competition here and the first prize is $500. Michael looks at the magazine. Send us a photo of you and the Queen together, he reads. Together, says Taylor. Michael looks at Gran. But I don't understand, he says. How do people know where the Queen's going to be? That's easy, says Gran. It tells you every week in the magazine. She turns to page 67 of Palace. Look, here we are. Tomorrow she's going to a horse show near here. On Wednesday she's going to see a film, and on Friday she's going to open a new hospital. Michael looks at Taylor. What do you think? He asks. Taylor smiles. I think you can buy 2 new bikes for $500, she says. The next day is Monday. There is a horse show near Brighton and the Queen is going to be there at 11 o'clock. Michael and Taylor leave at 10 o'clock. Now have you got everything? Asks Gran. Camera? Sandwiches? Umbrella? Coffee? Money? Michael looks at the sky. Yes, Gran, he says. All right, then, have a nice time, says the old lady. Taylor smiles. Thanks, Gran, she says. Brighton Station is only 5 minutes away from Gran's house. Michael and Taylor walk there. Okay, which train do we want? Asks Michael. The 10.18, says Taylor. They arrive at the horse show just after 11 o'clock. There are lots of people. Can you see the Queen? Asks Taylor. No, I can't, says Michael. He looks left and right. Then he stops. Yes, I can, he says. Look. She's over there. He is right. The Queen is standing next to a horse. Have you got the camera? Asks Michael. Yes. Taylor takes it out of her bag. Come on, says Michael. He smiles. This is going to be easy. But at that moment, 3 very tall men stand in front of him and Taylor. We want to take a photo of the Queen, says Michael. Is that okay? No, says one of the men. He puts his face near Michael's. It's not. Taylor looks to Michael. It is starting to rain. Come on, she says. Let's go home. We're not going to get a photo today. We can try again on Wednesday. The Queen's going to see a film in London, remember? Wednesday arrives. Michael and Taylor take a train to London. They get to the Odeon Cinema, Leicester Square at 7:15. In Palace magazine it says, the film starts at 7:30. There are hundreds of people outside the cinema. Everyone is waiting to see the Queen. Her car arrives at 7:25. Okay, says Michael. Are you ready? Taylor smiles and says, yes. The car stops. The Queen gets out. Everyone starts to move. Now, says Michael, but suddenly Taylor cannot see anything. She puts the camera above her head. Click. But she only gets a picture of Michael's right ear. Now it is Friday afternoon. Michael and Taylor are outside a new hospital in London. Michael is carrying lots of red roses. At 2:30, he is going to give them to the Queen. At that moment, Taylor is going to take a photo. Just before 2 o'clock the hospital doors open. What's happening? Says Michael. Someone comes out. It is a tall man with gray hair. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, he says. Everyone is quiet. The man looks at his shoes. Then he looks at all the people in front of him. I'm afraid I've got some bad news, he says. The Queen has a cold and can't be with us today. That's it, says Michael. He gives the roses to a woman beside him. Here, he says, you can have these. Then he walks down the street. He is very angry. Taylor follows him. 2 minutes later she stops. Michael looks behind him. What are you doing? He asks. Taylor is standing in front of a big building. I've got an idea, she says and smiles. Now Michael looks at the building, too. It is Madame Tussauds. An idea, he says. Yes. Taylor takes his arm. Come on, she says. Let's go in. Michael follows her. But why? He asks. I don't understand. Don't ask questions. Just follow me, says Taylor. There are lots of famous people in Madame Tussauds. Pop stars, sports stars, world leaders. Suddenly, Michael sees the British royal family. Now do you understand? Asks Taylor. Yes, says Michael and starts to laugh. He stands next to the Queen. Smile, says Taylor. Her brother smiles. Click. Taylor takes a photo. But at that moment someone shouts, "Hey! What are you two doing?" It is a Madame Tussauds guard and he is very angry. "You can't take photos like that in here," he says. "Come on. Give me that camera. Now." Taylor looks at Michael. "What do we do?" she asks. "Run," says Michael. They start to run. The guard follows them. "Come back here," he shouts. But Michael and Taylor do not stop. 2 weeks later, Gran is talking to her neighbor, Mrs. Jones. They are both looking at Palace magazine. Out in the garden, Michael and Taylor are riding their new bikes. "What a beautiful photo," says Mrs. Jones. "And how wonderful for you to have a grandson who knows the Queen. Does he know her well?" "No, not very well," says Gran. She smiles. "More tea, Mrs. Jones?"